This US Supreme Court has ruled against Donald Trump and his administration of arbitrary rule. None of the judges supported Trump. They all sided with the man that was deported unjustly back to El Salvador despite having a legal status. And for all those people that were talking about deport them all, deport the illegal, cried for more years. It seems like people are just kind of like moving the goalpost, even if there's something unfair going on, and they just don't care. We just want to support Trump 100% blind. All of the judges, all of them, even the MAGA judges, Judge Alito and Justice Thomas, sided with all the judges about the Trump administration being wrong in their decision to deport a man wrongly and then refusing to bring him back despite making a mistake. And I think this may set a tone for all the other deportations that are happening around the country. The USCIS, the MAGA USCIS, cannot arbitrarily deport people right and left without rule, without review, without careful process to make sure no innocent people are sent back. But I'm sure there are many Trumpers out there, the extreme ones, that are upset about this, and they're probably now against the US Supreme Court as they're corrupt, they are woke, they are leftist, they're against our dear leader. We're following the US Constitution, and I hope you're aware of that. And I found it just odd how so many people online, when I shared articles about this, they would like deflect. They would do something like either say he's an illegal, deport him, without even looking into it. Deport them all. And then other ones would just respond with attacks like that had nothing to do with the case. They would say something, you're a commie, or you're a leftist. This is total nonsense, attacks. Even sometimes attacking even Biden, who's no longer president. It's just good to know that the U.S. Supreme Court, despite being too leaning to the right, too Trumpy, to appease his corrupt ways, I'm glad they did this, because I know they judged over a year ago that he had somewhat of a presidential immunity in his actions. But I think they also have the power to let him know that he does not have free reign to do what he likes. Like in this case, where a man that was unjustly detained, taken from his home, his wife, his 2 kids, and sent back, married to an American wife and 2 American kids. And just in case you guys don't know, one of his kids is a special needs child. And it's pretty sad to see American people being so cruel and so callous about it, so cold about it. Deport them all, get them all out of here. These people are truly lost, and some of them, I think, twisted, that they know that they're wrong, but they're still pushing on for that backwards thinking. I don't know what else to say. I'm just happy that this happened. And it proved that there is still some rule of law and due process. And Mr. Abrego Garcia, by the way, he is ordered to be brought back to the U.S. He has no criminal record in the U.S. He has no criminal record in El Salvador. And something that I'm a little disappointed about, if I want to add to it before we go, is how the U.S. government and the Salvadoran government were not willing to make arrangements to bring him back. Why they were so adamant about just ignoring the whole thing. First, the Trump administration with their mouthpiece blonde in the White House, lying to the media, and the Salvadoran government with President Bukele very quiet about it, instead of him saying, hey, let's help this man, because I am sure El Salvador heard about this man through the news and his government. There was no attempt from the Salvadoran government to reach out to the U.S. government and say, hey, let's resolve this situation here because it seems it's unfair. But there was no evidence, no proof from either a Salvadoran government or from the U.S. government that he had criminal record or crimes or something bad that he did that people can say, hey, there's this. Nothing, just accusations. No proof. And it makes me think a little bit about how governments work together to bring people back. Because that was the argument by the Trump administration. He's out of the country, out of our jurisdiction, nothing we can do, despite our error. What about the cases when they have brought people back from other countries, like the basketball player in Russia? They made a deal finally with Putin to let that female basketball player, I forget her name now. She was detained for a long time for a little THC caps she had in her luggage. They managed to let her go. They worked it out. Or whenever I'm thinking about that case many years in Italy, where a girl, and I forget her name now, she was arrested in Italy for allegedly having killed someone with her friend. And all through the years, the U.S. government and Italy were trying to work out something to bring her back, and they finally got her back. And then I'm also thinking the cases of criminals. When let's think about Colombia or Mexico, when they do extradition efforts to move criminals that were captured in Colombia or in Mexico and other countries, to deport them back to not deport them back, but to bring them into the U.S. to process them judicially and sentence them and keep them in jail here. They make arrangements with the governments. Let's work it out. Let's bring those people here, whether the innocent ones or the guilty ones. But with this guy, they were like, oh, nothing we can do. Nothing we can do. Hypocrisy at its best from the Salvadoran government and the U.S. government. Anyway, that's all I got to say. You have a good one then. Hasta la vista, baby.